Hi, this is Nikki Hall with Every Holiday Realtors, and I am here today with my girl Kimberly Washington with Home Services Insurance. And we just came to you today just to give you some insurance information, some do's, don'ts, what you know, what you don't know type situation. So let's get started. Hi, Kimberly.
Hi, Nikki.
Thank you for joining us today.
Of course.
So we can give our clients and friends some information. So tell us who you are and how long you've been in the business.
All right. As you said before, my name is Kimberly Washington with Home Services of America Insurance. Specifically, I've been in insurance for 8 years.
Wow.
But I've been in some form of real estate for the last 25. Most people don't know I've held my realtor's license. I've done mortgages and title.
How about that? I've been knowing her for a while and I didn't even know that. How great, how great. Thank you. Never know unless you open your mouth and say it. So tell me, what makes you passionate about home insurance now, since you've been in all different fields?
Okay, so my passion is insurance in general, not necessarily just specific to home, but I believe in insurance because it is the transfer of risk. So it's one of those things that could bankrupt you if you're not careful about the coverages that you have, or really put you in a bad financial strain.
Awesome. So care about your clients, right?
I do.
Awesome.
Do.
So tell me the difference between a home or just insurance agent versus insurance broker, because I know there's a difference, I want to hear
from
you.
There is. So a captive agent can only sell their specific products. That's it. Like if they have their home, their insurance coverage, it is what it is. There's no options. You have these things to offer, period. A broker is a person or agency that can shop multiple carriers on behalf of the client. For myself, I am an insurance broker, so I don't work specifically for one carrier. I work for my clients, and I can shop multiple carriers to be able to find the best coverage at the best premium.
Okay, so you guys hear it, between the difference from an agent and a broker. Agent, one insurance carrier; broker, several. Okay. So something that I think a lot of people get confused with this question: how many different home policies are within insurance?
I mean, there's multiple. I can't narrow it down to just a number because there are so many different options. So many.
So I guess the question would be like roof and just different things like that.
Okay, that's different coverages. That will go on specifically to your next question.
Okay, well let's jump on into it. So what are endorsements?
Okay, so when you're looking at at your home policy, and I would recommend that you get your home policy out, pull it out, take a look at it, and you have standard coverages that are within a policy. Okay, that's just going to be on your basic policy. So then you get into endorsements. So let me give you an example. For instance, sudden and accidental water coverage. That's generally going to be always covered in a home policy. But slow seepage and leakage or hidden water, that's generally not covered in a home policy, in a standard policy. That would be an endorsement. You would need to add that on to your policy, and it would be an added cost, but it's worth every dollar. Because that would be something, going back to water, if it's sudden and accidental, that might be like a water heater bursting or an appliance hose coming loose. There's nothing you can do about that, right?
Right.
So hidden water is something that you would generally find, like perhaps behind your shower walls or in your attic where the air conditioning lines run. That's something you wouldn't normally be able to see with the naked eye, but it's something that happens over time. And that is not normally covered in a home policy, but it's something that occurs. So if you don't have that coverage on your policy, that would be an expense out of pocket to you, that your home insurance would not cover that. So you want to endorse the policy to be able to get that specific coverage. Of course, there are many more, but that's just an example.
Okay, awesome. And so is that something, I know this question's not on here, but is that something that you talk with your clients about?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Y'all hear that?
Absolutely. Another big one in Texas would be slab leaks. So that's an endorsement you would be able to add to your policy. So definitely whether it's me or your, an agent that you trust, be sure and talk to them about endorsements.
Awesome. Okay, in being in the home industry, claims. What is the highest claim that you see around?
Okay, so specifically to North Texas, the highest claim that we see is going to be wind and hail, and that's going to be coming from your storms because we are in a high storm area with tornadoes and also hail.
Okay. And what is the lowest claims that you see found?
I would say theft.
Theft?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
I would go, well, of course we can't predict the weather, but as I said before, we are in a high storm area, hail and tornado. So the roof is expensive, Most people aren't going to just peel out of pocket to pay for that. Now, whereas on the other hand, with theft, generally oftentimes it's going to either be below your deductible limits where you wouldn't even file the claim, or theft is one of those things. It takes a bold person to come and just rob you.
Yeah. Now, is it smart to get renter's insurance?
Oh my goodness. If you have, let me look directly into the camera. If you are a landlord and you don't require your tenant to have renter's insurance, you're putting yourself and that tenant in a very precarious situation. And what I mean by that is, number one, the renter's policy is going to include liability coverage, which would take that risk from you as the landlord. And secondly, if something were to happen to that property, the tenant could be displaced because you as the landlord, you don't have to find them a place to live while repairs are being made or what have you. But if that client or if your tenant had the renter's policy, the policy would cover them if there was some type of repair that they couldn't live in the home while it was being made. That would help them there. It would pay for all their living expenses. It's just a lot that goes into that renter's policy that protects not only you as the landlord, but also the tenant.
And why is it important for the tenant though as well? Because I get a lot of people that cancel it or don't want it, but it's very essential.
It is very essential. Because just as I stated, if you as the tenant, if you don't have renter's insurance and something happens to that property, the landlord does not have to find you another place to live in that meantime. So just think, if a water heater burst or something like that and it was an extensive repair and that home was unlivable for 2 or 3 months, where would you stay? Where would you live? Your lease is still in effect, but where would you live?
And see, key thing that you just said, a lot of people are not aware of. People think that renter's insurance only cover the contents.
Right.
Okay? Not the displacement, living in a hotel or extended stay for a
Right.
while. So that renter's insurance will cover that. Key points, you guys. So don't think about, oh, my furniture, my stuff may not be that expensive. It's old. Don't worry about it. But it covers all of that as well.
That's
okay?
right. And to your point with the contents, even if your furniture is old, if you have renter's insurance, it covers you at replacement cost, not at what the value is. So if your sofa is 10 years old and the dog peed on it or whatever, and you're getting ready to throw it away next week, that doesn't matter. If something were to happen, that's going to be replaced at replacement cost of today.
Wow, you hear that? And as y'all know, replacement cost now has gone up. So
yes,
get your renter's insurance. Definitely get that. So why is it so important to bundle your car and home or renter's insurance together?
The biggest reason is the premiums, the discounts that you're going to receive if you're with the same carrier. It's generally going to be less expensive. And then secondly, a lot of carriers will have the option, okay, like for the example, if you get caught in a hailstorm and your roof gets damaged by the hailstorm and you're driving home or you parked in the driveway and your car gets beat up by the hailstorm, you most of the time are only going to have to pay one deductible. It's going to be for the home because that's the highest one, but then your auto deductible would be waived. So if you had a $500 or $1,000 deductible, then that's less money you would have to spend out of pocket.
Awesome. And so, who should you call if you have a problem? Should you call the customer service line or who should we call?
Okay, my rule of thumb is if you think you have an issue, now if the house caught on fire, it is what it is.
Right.
But if, let's just say, again, I'll use the example of North Texas where it have a high hailstorm area. So if the hailstorm came through and you're wondering, did my roof get beat up? Don't call the insurance carrier's 800 number. Don't do that. Call your agent first. They will let you know, or I will let you know, hey, call a roofer. Get the assessment first. It's free. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be free. I mean, the plumber might, if it's a water situation, they're probably going to have a service call fee. But hey, I'd rather pay the $75 or whatever it is. Because if you call the insurance company first and open that claim, the only way the adjuster is going to come out is if you open a claim. They don't come out just because, just because they're nice and want to, give you an assessment. That's not their function. So if you open that claim, even if the repair is less than the deductible, or if there's no damage and nothing is being paid out, it's still a claim, and it does count against your claim history, even if it's zero pay.
So go into that. When you say file against your claim, your history.
Mm-hmm.
So does the claim go with the person, or does it stay with the house? And how does that affect the next person?
It goes with the person.
Okay.
So, and there are more caveats, but as a general rule of thumb, it goes with the person. So if I have my house that I'm living in now and I filed a claim, that claim that's my claim history. I own it.
Okay.
So it will definitely affect you when you're shopping for new policies if you're moving.
And what about theft? Like if you file multiple theft in that home and you sell it, doesn't that affect the new owner?
The claim history, yes, because
Okay.
that will determine what type of neighborhood and what the claims risk would be. It affects the home, that zip code, that specific address will be affected by the claims.
Awesome. So explain deductions.
Deductibles.
Mm-hmm.
So the deductibles are what your cost would be before the insurance kicked in, before it started paying out for you. So on a car, for example, most people just on an average would have a $500 deductible. So if you got into an accident, an at-fault accident, and you were repairing your vehicle was being paid or repaired, your deductible is $500, the bill is $2,000, you would get $1,500 towards that repair. Make sense?
Yeah.
So now why it's so important on a home policy is most wind and hail deductibles in the state of Texas are percentage basis. So the lowest is going to be 1%. So if your home is $300,000, just as a nice round figure, then you have a 1% deductible, it would be $3,000 out of pocket before the insurance would kick in. So for example, on a roof, if you had a $20,000 roof, the policy would pay $17,000 after you paid your $3,000. So that's so important when you're looking at your policies, and I really recommend pulling out your home policy, looking at it, because if you are with a captive agency, and as we all know, year after year, the premiums are going to go up. The only way that your coverage or your premium is going to go down is if they play with the coverages that you have. The most common one is going to be the deductible. So make sure you look at that. So when you call in and you say, oh, my bill is too high, how can we get this down? The first thing they're going to look at is to remove endorsements or increase your deductibles. So if you have a 2% deductible, that would be $6,000 in the example that I just gave you out of pocket, when you could just shop and perhaps, maybe the premium goes up a little, $200 or $300, but that's certainly better than $3,000. So just be aware.
And if you guys, you pay attention when she says shop around, it's very important that you shop around yearly, because that is one of the things of your mortgage that can increase, okay, is your home insurance.
That's exactly right.
And so every year, if you're getting with someone that does not call you, make sure you put it on your calendar, or get with someone that can do that. So
Absolutely.
Kimberly puts it on her calendar to give you guys a call every year.
Definitely. That is so important.
Yeah, so I also wanted to know, last question through, how many states do you cover?
Actually,
Do you only cover just Texas?
I do not cover just Texas. I am multi-state licensed, and we recently did a change because I used to be licensed in all 50 states, but now I've been reduced to a few less than all 50, but it's multiple. So don't think just because you're not in the state of Texas, our company is national. Even if it's not me, I can refer you to one of my teammates to be able to assist because we, like I said, we are national.
That's awesome. Thank you, Kimberly, for
You're
your
welcome.
time.
Thank you for having me.
This was so exciting. I love educating my clients. That's one thing that I pride on. So thank you for sitting down with me a few seconds
Absolutely.
to go over that. So you guys, if you have any questions about home insurance, please don't hesitate to give us a call. Kimberly information will be linked below as well. So if you have any questions, reach out to us. We were excited and wanting to get you help. All right. Have
Thank
a good
you.
day. Bye, you guys.